1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Unanisikia? 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right.
Good morning to you and welcome to the live proceedings of the Senate this morning. Being the 24th day of September, the year is 2025 at exactly 9:29 a.m., a minute away from the appointed time for the House to commence business on Wednesday morning. This is the second day that the House will be delving into the business before it after having resumed the regular sitting for the fourth session yesterday after a 1-month-long recess. A number of business has been lined up for consideration by the senators. Among them is a few motions and questions that will be directed to a number of cabinet secretaries who are set to appear before the Senate this morning. Given priority in today's order paper is a motion by Senator Moses Kajwang, the Senator for Homa Bay County. The motion is in regard to the report of the proceedings of the Parliamentarians' Dialogue at the Africa Climate Summit 2023 that was held in the National Assembly's chamber in Parliament Buildings in Nairobi between the 3rd and the 6th day of September 2023. In this motion, Senator Kajwang, who happens to be the chair of the caucus representing a Parliament of Kenya during the Parliamentarians' Dialogue at the Africa Climate Summit of the 2023 that was held in Nairobi, is seeking to have the Senate note the report of the proceedings of the Parliamentarians' Dialogue at the Africa Climate Summit of 2023 that was held in the National Assembly's chamber in Nairobi. The other motion that the Senate is set to consider this morning is the report of the Parliament of Kenya delegation to the 2025 hearing of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, that was held at the United Nations, New York, in the United States of America between the 13th and the 14th of February 2025. Senator Catherine Muma is among senators that represented the Parliament of Kenya for the Interparliamentary Union IPU hearings in the United Nations, and she'll be seeking to have the Senate note the report of that proceedings that was held in the US. Senator Jackson Mandago is also listed in today's order paper as a senator who has a motion on the report of the 67th Commonwealth Parliamentary Association CPA conference that was held in Sydney in Australia on the 3rd to the 8th of November 2024. This is basically a motion that is seeking to have the Senate note the proceedings of the Parliamentary Association conference in Sydney. But away from that, the Senate is set to hear from a number of cabinet secretaries who are set to appear before the Senate this morning, being a Wednesday morning. Cabinet secretaries, pursuant to the standing orders of the House, appear before the Senate plenary to give answers to questions raised by a number of senators. The Senator for Nairobi County, Senator Edwin Sifuna, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing and Development to disclose the current holders of the title deeds for the parcels of land registered as LR number 18282 in Kasarani constituency, which comprises of 1,000 plots allocated to squatters in the 1989 through the government squatter resettlement scheme. The other land in question is a parcel of land in Makadara constituency, which was designated for use by the Mbotela Charcoal Dealers Self-Help Group. And finally, a land in Makadara constituency, which was designed for the Buruburu Phase 5 community playing ground. The Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Kingi, will be presiding over the business of the Senate this morning. Allow me to hand over for this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. Enjoy your viewing.
Na tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, tukusihi tutazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Tukuomba utuajalie tuyatende na kufikia mambo yote atakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
The business of the Senate has commenced this morning with the Speaker of the House presiding over the business. But a little quorum hitch has necessitated the directive for the quorum bell to be rung for 10 minutes for senators yet to make their way into the chamber. To do exactly that, to necessitate the House to raise quorum of 15 senators required by the House rules for the House to commence business at any particular time when the House is sitting. The last question by the Senator for Nairobi County that will be directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, Public Works, Housing and Development is that the Senator wants to understand what is the ministry doing to safeguard the rights of legitimate owners over the parcels of land and to address the reported cases of fraudulent claims and encroachment in respect to the said parcels of land. They are in Kasarani and Makadara, Buruburu Phase 5. The other land in question is LR number 209 stroke 4844 stroke 124 that was designated for use by the Mbotela Charcoal Dealers Self-Help Group. The Senator for Embu, Senator Alexander Mundigi, will also be directing a few questions to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands. Senator Mundigi is asking the status of the construction of Embu Modern Market and wants the Cabinet Secretary to disclose the timelines for the completion and operationalization of the market. He also wants the CS to provide similar information on all other national government projects for the construction of markets within Embu County and outline measures put in place to ensure that these projects are completed on the time anticipated. there are further questions directed to the CS for lands. Among them is that the CS is this morning expected to provide details on the circumstances under which the parcel of land in South Sea Ward in Langata constituency, registered as LR number 209/10-10, on which the College of Insurance stands, was encroached upon by a private developer who has already excavated and constructed a perimeter fence around the portion of land. The senators also want to understand the steps that the ministry has taken to address the situation and safeguard the rights of the Insurance Training and Education Trust, who are the legitimate owners of the parcel of land in question. And finally, the CS for lands is also expected to explain how the ministry intends to generally address the growing menace of the fraudulent acquisition and encroachment of public land by private developers. A few minutes past the appointed time for the House to commence business. We are awaiting for quorum to be attained, upon which we'll be handing you over for this live broadcast. The rallying of senators to get to the chamber this morning, or popularly known as whipping, at the corridors of Parliament is underway for members to get into the chamber this morning. There are a number of resolutions by the Senate that pass on to Standing Orders number 111, subsection 1. The House resolves to cap the time allocated for debate, and the debate on a motion not sponsored by the majority or minority or a committee chair is limited to a maximum of 3 hours, with not more than 20 minutes for the mover, 20 minutes for the majority party official responder, and 20 minutes for the minority party official responder. 15 minutes have been allocated to each senator speaking, and that 15 minutes before the time expires for the debate of a motion, the mover shall be called upon to make a reply in regards to the motion on the floor. This morning, the Senate, away from the consideration of the business that will be directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands, CS Alice Wahome, who is set to appear before the Senate this morning, There are other agendas for consideration away from the question time, and a few motions where the senators who had had an opportunity to represent the country in various conferences held in foreign nations will be seeking to have the Senate note the report of their delegation. A number of bills are also lined up for consideration by the Senate. Among them is the County Library Service Senate Bills number 40 of the year 2024 by Senator Joyce Correll, the Labor, Migration and Management Bill number 2, Senate Bills number 42 of the year 2024. This bill is by Senator Tabitha Mutinda, and the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bills number 6 of the year 2024 by the Senate Leader of the Majority Party. The County Library Services, the Labor, Migration and Management Bill, and the Technopolis Bill are bills currently at the Committee of the Whole, this being the stage where the House converts itself into a committee and gets to deliberate on these bills deeper in regards to the proposals, and if amendments will be fronted further to further amend these bills. The quorum has been attained.
Order, honorable senators, we do have quorum now. The clerk, you may proceed to call the first order, please.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Now, honorable senators, we expected to have the CS in charge of lands for purposes of responding to 3 questions. Question number 43, 95, and 99. 2 of those questions are by the Senator for Nairobi City County, the Honorable Edwin Sifuna, and the 3rd question is by the Senator for Embu County, the Honorable Alexander Mundege. Unfortunately, the CS in charge of lands has just written a letter which was received last night at 7 p.m. indicating that she'll be out of the country and therefore will not be able to attend today's plenary for purposes of responding to these questions. That being the case, and her being the only CS who was scheduled to appear today during this question time, it means therefore that we will not have the question time this morning. That is the sad reality. So we will proceed with the other business as contained in the order paper. Hopefully, the movers of these businesses are in the chamber so that we can dispense with quite a number of reports for delegations that traveled outside. I think this will be a good moment for us to adopt this report and get them out of the order paper. Some of them have been appearing in the order paper for quite some time. So, honorable senators, that is the situation. Yes, Majority Leader.
No, I was reacting to what my whip was saying because I heard him say sawa sawa. And I was saying it cannot be okay. Mr. Speaker, this is an institution. You cannot write to us at 7 p.m. for an appearance of the following day. In fact, so serious is this matter, Mr. Speaker, that I have taken the trouble to attend a cabinet retreat chaired by none other than the President and raise this issue, that as an institution, how do you expect us to function if barely a few hours to your appearance before Parliament, you're writing to us letters? To do what? Alice Wahome needs to know she's no longer the Member of Parliament for Kandara. She's a Minister of the Republic of Kenya. I have seen the letter, Mr. Speaker, purporting that she has traveled out of the country. Did she just realize last night that she's traveling out of the country? This is serious contempt against Parliament. The unfortunate thing, Mr. Speaker, is that the power is with us, but we have refused to pass that report, Mr. Speaker, which you are aware. And Mr. Speaker, allow me to put you also on the spot, because you are the chairperson of Powers and Privilege Committee. You know very well that we passed a report in this House that stated that failure to honor parliamentary appearances, including question time, particularly on such a serious matter as this, Mr. Speaker, should attract some form, Mr. Speaker, or fine or something, Mr. Speaker, so that people don't treat this House with that kind of contempt. I know there are many people, because I've seen conversations from the other House saying, oh, what are ministers going to do in the Senate? Does it even include Minister for Lands? A function that is nearly 100% evolved, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge, with tremendous respect to you and the members who serve in the Powers and Privilege Committee, we have already passed that report in this House. It is you to adopt and guide the House so that you lead us to do the necessary amendments that we need to do so that people begin to treat this House with the seriousness that it deserves. It is not wrong not to appear, but at least give us the notice in good time. The CS for Agriculture was supposed to appear today. He sent a letter 1 week ago. And when we sat yesterday in SBC, we said, okay, sufficient notice and time has been given. We can plan ourselves accordingly. But at 7 p.m., hardly 12 hours, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, I want to request of you, Mr. Speaker, and the team that you lead at Powers and Privilege, rescue us from this kind of embarrassment that we find ourselves in every other Wednesday morning. I thank you.
Senator for Nairobi City County.
Yeah, Speaker, let me just join the majority leader in expressing my disappointment. Speaker, if you look at the matters that we were to have conversations with the minister today, Nairobi is under attack from land grabbers. These are matters that are urgent. If you look at the order paper, Honorable Speaker, the College of Insurance in South Sea has been grabbed. The College of Insurance in South Sea. As we speak right now, they don't even have access to the college because the land grabber has fenced off the place. We are talking about land in Mbotela, land in Kasarani, Makadara, a playground in Buruburu Phase 5. My expectation was the minister would treat this one as urgent. Because you remember the last time, and to her credit, Honorable Speaker, she has been of help to the people of Nairobi before, when Tomboya Social Hall had been grabbed. If it was not the statement that was made here in the Senate to revoke that title, that land was gone. She must treat these issues with urgency. It is one thing, you know, there are certain dockets, I think, that as a minister, you must know that these are matters of life and death. Things to do with health, Honorable Speaker. Things to do with land. Here in Nairobi, we are under siege. So we really need this minister to come through. And this is the only avenue we get to be able to have these conversations with her. We have lamented here before. We have expressed outrage before that the manner of communication, because all of us in leadership have had opportunity to travel. This travel is planned weeks, months in advance. You have to get visas, clearances. It is not a surprise. And we as a Senate do our best to write in good time to the people that we need to have conversations with here so that they can be able to tell us, oh, by the way, in 2 weeks' time, I will not be in Nairobi and will not be able to join you in the sitting. So it is a bit contemptuous. It is a bit contemptuous, and I've also not seen the written responses from the ministry. Honorable Speaker, these are urgent matters. Even if she was not able to come, let her give us written responses so that we are able to know what is the situation with these parcels of land. We cannot afford any more time lost because, as I have said, we are under siege in Nairobi. So with those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I think this one was a great disservice to us as a people of Nairobi, given how urgent these matters were. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I want to believe that maybe even the reason for her not appearing is not the traveling issue. I think the responses were not ready, because according to our rules and procedure, the written responses must be filed 12 hours before appearance of the CS. We have not received any communication in that regard from the CS, and the only thing we are told is out of the country. So I want to believe otherwise. Senator Enoch.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When I heard Senator Kakamega saying ni sawa, it's a very heavy statement, Mr. Speaker. It speaks of a house that are just given up. You know, you just, whatever happens, then happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader has a latitude to try and say he is putting the speaker on the spot. A lot of us may not have that latitude. But the speaker, this thing has happened before, many times. And you seated on that chair, Mr. Speaker, you have given direction on what we should do. And perhaps that is why Senator Kakamega is saying ni sawa. Because you've told us, and we have agreed with you, we should stop lamenting and take action. The action, the Speaker, is provided for in our standing orders, and we have attempted to take that action, the Speaker. We have attempted to censure these cabinet secretaries. The last request, the Speaker, for a motion of censure was by the Senator of Kitui County, Enoch Wamboa, against the CS in charge of Treasury. The Speaker, to date, that request is still in your office. The Speaker, we are suffering. Maybe these colleagues of mine have not told you. Maybe the chairman of Liaison, who is the deputy speaker, has not told you that committees of the Senate are suffering. That now even governors will have to choose whether they want to appear or they don't want to appear. Because, Mr. Speaker, a precedent is being set, a very bad precedent. That somebody can wake up in the morning and write to a committee of the Senate or the plenary and excuse themselves from appearance, and it is okay. It is okay. They can just go and do whatever they want to do. Mr. Speaker, find it in your heart to bite the bullet and allow one or two of these cabinet secretaries to be censured by this House. Perhaps that will send a stronger message to them that appearing before the Senate is not a matter of choice. The Speaker, as I conclude, you remember when we started these morning sessions, we had a lot of debate around it. Personally, I had my own reservations about it. But I discussed with the majority leader, and we agreed, yes, that's okay. Perhaps it's the best way of doing these things to also give this Senate, this House, some visibility and allow cabinet secretaries to appear before us and respond to questions. The Speaker, it cannot be their choice. It cannot be them deciding when to appear and when not to appear. The Speaker, as I conclude, please guide us and lead us into censuring one or two of these cabinet secretaries, and then I think the rest will learn their lessons. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mondege.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa nafasi niweze kuchangia mjadala wa wasiri wale ambaye walikuwa nafaa wakuje tuwaulize maswali siku ya leo. Bwana Spika, mimi naunga mkono majority kwa yale amezungumzia, na pia Senator ambaye Wambua Kitui yale amezungumzia, kwa sababu nakumbuka vizuri Bwana Spika, wakati tulipitisha magavana 47 na pia mawaziri 22 wawe wakitembea kwa hiki kikao ama kwa pahali popote wamekuwa wameitwa, tumeona utendaji wa kazi wa mawaziri ama gavana na pia wale wafanyikazi vile kazi inafanyika vizuri. Na wakati tunafaa tukuje hapa siku ya Jumatano asubuhi saa 3, Bwana Spika, tunakuwa sisi maseneta tunatumia pesa nyingi sana ndio tuweze kuja hapa kutoka asubuhi mpaka saa 7, kwa sababu ikao ni saa 8, tunatumia pesa nyingi sana ya serikali. Bwana Spika, kama ni siku ya leo waziri wa hadhi ama waziri wa masamba angekuwa anakuja hapa naunga mkono seneta wa Nairobi kwa yale amesema juu ya Nairobi, vile masamba nyingi imeibiwa, mambo mengi yamefanyika. Bwana Spika, nikikumbuka wiki jana kuna masamba ambayo iko Ruiru, unakuta iende ikawa aidha makanisa, inasemekana makanisa ilinua njia ifai, ama ni wenye masamba walikuwa nashinda vitu kama hizo. Waziri kama huyu angekuja hapa, hata kama hii haikuwa swali langu, iende ikawa kuna mtu angemuuliza, je, ndio hiyo title deed iwe revoked ilikuwa namna gani? Kwa hiyo ni mambo mengi sana ambaye siku ya leo watu wa Kenya wangetaka kujua, kwa sababu wakati Bwana Spika mtu ameomba pesa kwa bank kama ni milioni 200 ama milioni 20 na amejenga nyumba na baadaye usikie hiyo nyumba sio yake ama samba imerudi kwa wenyewe, ni kitu aibu sana. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, mimi naunga mkono, kama kuna njia ile inafaa utuelekeshe tuweze kusukulia governors wale watakuwa kuja kwa vikao, ama pia mawaziri wale watakuwa nakuja hapa kuwauliza maswali. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, mimi naunga mkono, tuweze kuona tutaendea mna gani ndio tuweze kusaidia mwananchi wa Kenya njia ile inafaa. Ni mimi Senator wa Embu County Alexander Munyi Mudigi. Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Wafula.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa nafasi hii. Kwanza ni kusema kwamba nina huzuni sana kwa sababu iwapo mawaziri ambao wamepewa nafasi kuhudumia Wakenya ambao hawana sauti, hawana nafasi ya kujitetea, wanaweza kukuandikia barua pasipo kuthibitisha kwamba ni kweli wana safari. Lakini cha msingi Mheshimiwa Spika, ukikaa katika maeneo ya Majembe ama maeneo ya kula bata hapa Nairobi, Mheshimiwa Spika, utapata kwamba kuna watu ambao mashamba yao yananyakuliwa ama yamo mbioni kunyakuliwa na hakuna yeyote anayewasikiza. Na hivyo basi ningeweza kujihusisha na matamshi ya Mheshimiwa Senator wa Nairobi kwamba waziri huyu lazima ajue kwamba Wakenya wana haki ya kupata huduma. Huenda yeye ana haki ya kumiliki mashamba yake, lakini kuna watu wanapoteza urithi wao kwa sababu ya matapeli katika sekta ya ardhi. Sasa naomba jumba la Senate waziri kama huyu Mheshimiwa Spika anyolewe kwa chupa Mheshimiwa Spika, na ili aweze kuwa na adabu kuhudumia Wakenya. Changamoto hizi za ardhi Mheshimiwa Spika hazipo Nairobi peke yake. Kwangu Bungoma Mheshimiwa Spika, wengi wazee, mayatima, wajane, mashamba yao yananyang'anywa, mashamba yao yanachukuliwa na watu ambao wana ushirikiano mkubwa na maafisa katika sekta ya ardhi. Katika mkutano wa jukwaa la usalama kule Bungoma Mheshimiwa Spika, niliweza kurai waziri wa usalama Mheshimiwa Murkomen kwamba idara za ujasusi DCI na idara za kupambana dhidi ya ufisadi lazima vile vile zimulike katika idara ya ardhi Mheshimiwa Spika. Baadhi ya watu wanafanya katika idara ya ardhi Mheshimiwa Spika wana mashamba Kenya nzima, na ukiuliza stakabadhi kudhibitisha walinunua lini, mashahidi walikuwa kina nani, hawapo. Na hii ni ishara kwamba hawa watu wananufaika kwa kutojua kwa Wakenya. Tulikuwa na michezo ya Afrika Mashariki kule Mombasa Mheshimiwa Spika, na unapopiga gumzo na wenyeji wa Mombasa, wengine vile vile wanashuhudia kwamba mashamba yao yamechukuliwa na maafisa katika serikali ama walio na marafiki katika serikali. Sasa sitaraji tena waziri ataitwa hapa alafu atuandikie barua kwamba anaenda ng'ambo. Iwapo hataki kazi Mheshimiwa Spika, tumruhusu aende na asirudi, ili tumchague waziri mwingine na tufanyie kazi. Na mwisho, kuna idara ya ardhi katika kaunti zetu. Mheshimiwa Sifuna alitaja hapa katibu fulani katika kaunti ya Nairobi ambaye anabadilisha tu umiliki wa ardhi kana kwamba yeye ndio mwenye mashamba hapa Nairobi. lazima kukuwe na mfumo ambao utabainisha nani anapeana mashamba kisheria, na iwapo kuna kubadilisha wale wanaomiliki mashamba haya, nyenzo zipi zitafuatwa ili pasiwepo nafasi ya wale wanaofanya katika serikali za kaunti kugawanya ama kujigawa mashamba ilhali wenyewe hawana maeneo ya kuburudika ama kuwekeza. Nikimalizia, marehemu mbunge Lawrence Sifuna aliongoza jopo la kuangalia mashamba ya umma kule Bungoma. Ripoti iliandikwa, Mheshimiwa Spika, ikapelekwa katika bunge la kaunti kule Bungoma, na hapa katika jumba la Senate nikaweza kuuliza ripoti hiyo imefika wapi. Mpaka leo, Mheshimiwa Spika, idara ya ardhi katika serikali haijatupa majibu. Na sisi tunajua nyunyila zinasema Bungoma mashamba ya umma ni zaidi ya 1325. Itakuwaje watoto washindwe kupata maeneo ya kujiburudisha, kufanya mazoezi, maeneo ya majukwaa ya kukuza talanta, ilhali watu wamepigiwa kura, wana nafasi ya kuhakikisha kwamba mashamba ya umma yanadhibitiwa, yanalindwa kwa sababu ya vizazi vijavyo. Sasa mimi naomba jumba la Senate likiongozwa nawe, Mheshimiwa Spika, wakati umefika tusimame kidete na tumtetee mnyonge. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
No, honorable senators, we will rest it at that. But let me say this to the majority leader. You do not need the report, or you do not need the Committee on Powers and Privileges to bring sanity in this area. In fact, the consequences of non-attendance are actually contained in our standing orders, especially Standing Order 51D. And I'll read it. The Senate may, where Cabinet Secretary fails without reasonable cause to appear and respond to question, and at this part, move a motion to censure the Cabinet Secretary. That is the recourse you have, honorable senators. And you may want to use this sparingly, or you may want to enforce it and enforce it to the full. Because I've heard your frustrations, your concerns, and the only way you can bring discipline in this area is to invoke Standing Order 51D. I don't see there's a better way of bringing discipline in this area other than invoking the provisions of Standing Order 51D. So kindly be guided. We will now move to the next order. Clerk.
Order number 8, motion. Report of the proceedings of the Parliamentarians' Dialogue at the Africa Climate Summit 2023, held in the National Assembly Chamber, Parliament Buildings, Nairobi, on 3rd to 6th September 2023.
The Honorable Senator Moses Kajwang. So that business will be deferred. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. Report of the Parliament of Kenya delegation to the 2025 hearing of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, held at the United Nations in New York, United States of America, on 13th, 14th February 2025.
The Honorable Senator Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just a moment. Honorable Speaker, I wish to move the motion that the Senate notes the report of the Parliament of Kenya delegation to the 2025 hearing of the Interparliamentary Union held at the United Nations in New York, United States of America, on 13th February 2025, laid on the table of the Senate on 17th July 2025. Honorable Senators, Honorable Speaker, the annual parliamentary hearing of the United Nations is organized in close collaboration with various bodies, and its importance resides in the active contribution to developing working papers on matters at hand, highlighting the parliamentary dimensions of these issues in order to enable parliamentarians to better understand decision-making mechanisms. The deliberations during the two-day session in New York, the IPU gathered the main program. The meeting comprised of the main program with 7 sessions, and that is provided for in this report. The hearing included 7 interactive discussions featuring panels of experts, topics as international trade, debt, taxation, overseas development, assistance, and others. And the discussion was the opening discussion focused on issues of the deep challenges relating to the SDGs and the mobilization of political will to ensure that SDGs are implemented by member states of the United Nations. Without going through the entire report, honorable members, what came to pass is that as members of parliament, as we implement various and discuss issues of development in our own country, we are called upon to also take cognizance of the international obligations that we have and to use parliament as a way of oversighting implementation of these international treaties and obligations by not only citing or holding the executive accountable to the obligations made on behalf of Kenyans, but by also measuring whether it is the Committee on Education, Committee on Health, or any other committee, to ensure that even as we carry out our oversight roles, we are able to also audit those sectors against our obligations within the SDGs. As is usual, the meeting called upon the member states to help address the challenges around the SDGs and to get their own states to move the pin in terms of the implementations of these obligations. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move. I request Senator Mungatana to second for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to second this motion. Mr. Speaker, one of the things that remains very commendable on behalf of the Kenya delegation that went there is that this parliament has continually maintained its presence at the international level. And Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the Honorable Senator Catherine Muma, together with the delegation that comprised of members of parliament from the National Assembly and our own senators who attended the deliberations. Mr. Speaker,
being in those international fora helps us to understand what perspectives the world is taking on very important global centered decisions that need to be made and how they are being implemented. Mr. Speaker, one of the critical things that was being discussed here is how parliaments are supposed to find financing for the Sustainable Development Goals. And unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the report, you will see that only 17% of these goals, the SDGs, were on course towards attainment. Mr. Speaker, the world sits down, Kenya being part of it, we make decisions and we say we are going to fight poverty, we are going to reduce financial burdens on countries, and so many of those goals are set up at the international level. Then, Mr. Speaker, many years later, the very leaders who set up those goals are not able to follow through. And here we are told that the Sustainable Development Goals report of 2024 reveals that only 17% of the SDG targets are on track, which means, Mr. Speaker, maybe sometimes we need to ask ourselves, where are we going as a part of the world nations, as part of the world of nations? So, Speaker, I watched with consternation when President Trump took to the floor in the ongoing United Nations General Assembly meeting. And Mr. Speaker, he criticized, and a lot of the media afterwards were on his case. He criticized the fact that the United Nations is not doing what it was meant to do. The United Nations is not hitting the goals. In fact, he went on to say he himself, as a president, he has managed to do more by stopping at least 7 wars for the time that he has been in office, and the United Nations did not help him, did not even help him to tie out the remaining issues around those 7 wars. Whether those claims were true or not, because he didn't list what he was talking about, the fact of the matter is that the US, since the new administration of Trump took over, decided to defund a lot of the United Nations activities that hitherto were funded by the United States. And Mr. Speaker, it brings, therefore, to question, when we set these goals and then only 17% of them are achieved so many years later, we need to ask ourselves, is there a better model that we can follow for us to achieve global peace, eradication or reduction of poverty, climate change goals? What do we need to do? And Mr. Speaker, in as much as these deliberations at this 2-day session in New York did not give a concrete way forward, what I think needs to be done, Mr. Speaker, is to start thinking regionally. Maybe, Mr. Speaker, Africa can have its own solution. And we who are playing a part at the continental level, we have found it very useful that when you discuss matters with Namibia, with Morocco, with Tunisia, with DRC, with Ghana, and countries that are within the continent, it is easier to understand each other. So when we set those goals, they seem to make more sense than setting goals that are so wide and so global, and then they become impossible to achieve. Mr. Speaker, I want to say, though, that even as we move towards making global decisions, I think they should and ought to be guided by continental standards, so that as Kenya is going to these IPU sessions, as Kenya is going to these sessions to discuss various global things, we need to have had our own sessions first, so that we can present our position as Africa, we can present our position as East Africa, in the sense that, for me, this will help drive more achievable goals that will help the world move forward. If we can set, say, 10 goals in Africa and we achieve 5 of them, as opposed to all these SDGs, and then we are told only 17% have been achieved, I think we will be making a greater way in terms of progress. However, Mr. Speaker, my proposal, as I second this report, is to say that it is not over until it is over. We have many, many decades to go before maybe this world runs out of energy or something crazy happens. So we must keep the pressure to eradicate poverty. We must keep the pressure to push for peace. We must keep the pressure to keep crime down across the world. We must keep the pressure to reduce this xenophobia that is developing around the world. And parliaments across the world, Mr. Speaker, hold the power to guide in terms of legislation on where we need to see our world going. Mr. Speaker, we need to see a world where it is possible for our children and their children and their children to move freely, to be able to set up their lives wherever they want, and to make economic contributions where they are found. So, Mr. Speaker, that's within the power of parliaments across the world. And so we should not give up. We should continue pushing for a better world, a better Africa, a better world, so that the world that we live in, where we found it, we can live it at a better position. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to second this motion. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, I will now propose the question. The Senate notes the report of Parliament of Kenya delegation to the 2025 hearing of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, held at the United Nations, UN in New York, United States, on the 13th to the 14th of February 2025, which was laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 17th of July 2025. Now, I do not have any indication on my dashboard of any senator wishing to contribute to this motion. And I will ask the clerk, do we have the requisite number for me to put the question? Okay, so then I will allow the mover of the motion to reply. And thereafter, because we don't have the numbers, the requisite numbers to vote, we'll defer the putting of the question.
Honorable Speaker, I move to reply, and pursuant to Standing Order 66.3, I request the deferment of the putting of the question on the motion to a later date. Thank you.
So the putting of the question is hereby deferred. Next order.
Order number 10, motion. Report of the 67th Commonwealth Parliamentary Association CPA Conference held in Sydney, Australia on 3rd to 8th November 2024.
Senator Jackson Mandago.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I wish to give notice of motion that the Senate notes the report of the 67th Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Conference held in Sydney, Australia.
Honorable Senator, you are moving the motion. You already gave notice, I think, yesterday.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to move the motion that the Senate notes the report of the 67th Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Conference held in Sydney, Australia on the 3rd to 8th of November 2024, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, the 22nd of July 2025. Honorable Speaker, and I request Senator Moma to second.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to, this was a conference, I beg to second this motion. It is, this was a conference of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, and Honorable Speaker, I have read through the report, is basically, it was a procedural motion that discussed the structure of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association and made some decisions on how it should be restructured. I beg to second. Thank you.
Honorable Senators, I will now propose the question that the Senate notes the report of the 67th Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Conference held in Sydney, Australia on the 3rd to the 8th of November 2024, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, the 22nd of July 2025. There being no indication of an honorable senator wishing to speak on this motion, I will ask the mover to reply.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to reply and request that the putting of the question be deferred the next session, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. The putting of the question is hereby deferred. Next order.
Order number 11, motion, report of the consultative meeting of the Executive Committee of the Forum of Parliaments of the Member States of the International Conference on the Great Lakes Region, FPICGLR, held in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, from 22nd to 24th January 2025.
Senator Hezena Lemalentian. This business is deferred. Next order. Now, Honorable Senators, I think that was the last order in today's order paper, and therefore I shall request all of us to be upstanding. Honorable Senators, there being no other business in the order paper, the Senate stands adjourned until later today, Wednesday, 24th of September 2025 at 2:30 p.m.